Archaeological discoveries also are reliable sources of the ethnogenesis, but without linguistical confirmation, they cannot disclose the ethnic composition of the population of that period. First, the age of an archaeological material determined from other sources. For example, linguistics determine its ethnic affiliation, and at last the archaeological culture is attributed to a certain ethnos. A very important requirement is the objectivity of the linguistical research. For example, defining the ethnic affiliation of the 8th 3rd century BC, Ananian archaeological culture of the Uralital region, archaeologists trust conclusions of the Indo-Iranian and Finno-Ugrian researchers that at that time there lived ostensibly Iranian lingual Scythians, and in the forested zone lived Finno-Ugrians. Coming from that this archaeological culture is attributed to Finno-Ugrians only, ZEKIEV 1989, and the archaeological materials of the steppe zone are attributed to Indo-Iranians. If the Turkic linguists were engaged in the ethnogenetical problems earlier, they would have proved years ago, based on the linguistical data, the Turkic speaking of the most of the Scythians, and that Turkic layer could have been determined in the Ananian archaeological materials. Coming from the traditional tenets of the historical science that the first Turks came to the Uralital region ostensibly only in the 7th century AD, the Pinobor archaeological culture of Kama belonging to 2nd century BC, 3rd century AD is also attributed only to Finno-Ugrians. It's quite surprising that the so-called Menkov archaeological culture, agricultural culture of the 4th 8th century AD in the Middle Itil region is not attributed to the local Turks because of the dogma that Turks there are considered to be nomadic cattlemen. This culture till present awaits its ethnic owners. Such an uncertainty exists also for ethnic affiliation of some other archaeological cultures. Finally, this problem can be solved only with a consideration of the Turkic linguistical sources.